Back here on the channel, youtube.com/Bryan Fonseca. Subscribe. Joined by a special guest. You've probably heard her on various Miami Heat beat programs. Also, brother from another, right?
Yes, that
Yes,
did happen a few times. Yep.
brother
Shout out
from
to Natalie.
yes, brother from another, Siobhan Beslow, who interesting story that I'm gonna bring up because I
Oh man.
brought this up to you before, and you don't have the recollection that I do because it's just another day in the office. But Siobhan played college basketball around the same time that I was in college, so we're roughly the same age. And this happened one December game in 2015, where my school, St. Francis in Brooklyn, played your school, Norfolk State. You tied your career high in points in that game in college.
Ooh, what was it?
Do you know how many points you had in that game?
Not at all.
I mean, unfortunately, your teammates, I mean, could have helped you out a little bit more just looking at this box score. But I remember telling you, I wrote I was on the student newspaper. I was our sports editor, and I had to watch this game that was going on in somewhere in Virginia, where it was close. It was close. Our school won 59-55, but not without 18 points from you. So there was that. Also, that's not even the best part. 11 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals. And you shot 9 for 14 in that game.
That's a solid day. Oh man, go me. No,
Career
that's a
high,
solid day.
tied for a career. You had another 18-point game. Apparently a month earlier, where you actually
Nice.
had a very similar stat line: 18, 12, 3 and 3 against Oakland. Very similar stat line. Um,
Good
your
times.
team, your teammates went 14 of 40, so they didn't help you out much there. But
It was rough. That was a transformative year. Norfolk State has taken off since then.
yes,
that was the
yes,
that was a pivotal year.
yes. I mean, you did what you can. Honestly, you probably could have beaten us too because our team wasn't great. But it is what it is. Stories for another
Good
time. We're gonna
times.
talk about. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean that was yeah no that was fun. That was fun to look back on. There may be highlights of that somewhere, but I would have to check deeper on YouTube. Because
Mm,
different. That was like different time. It
let me
feels.
know.
Yeah, I gotta
Let me those if you come across them.
I gotta see what I can find. Okay, so brought Siobhan here because we're gonna talk about women's basketball in the Olympics. Talked about men's basketball with Joe Delera last night. And the semifinals are here for the women as well. We had 4 quarterfinal games. We're not gonna do each and every one, but now we're at the semifinals. Australia beat Serbia. Honestly, all these games are kind of blowout-ish. Australia beat Serbia by 18, getting revenge for their men's team who lost to Serbia. Belgium beats Spain 79-66. France beats Germany 84-71. USA beats Nigeria 88-74. Got a little closer in the fourth quarter there. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Just general Siobhan. General Siobhan. We'll start there because we absolutely want to get to Team USA. But um, your general takeaways, like I guess the biggest thing that stood out to you, and it could be Team USA related, doesn't have to be, but general thing that stood out to you from these quarterfinal games that we got today.
Maybe parity is still a bit too strong, but the distribution of WNBA talent, across the globe, it is really fun. I was watching. You have France, and you got Marine Johannes and Ileana Rupert and Gabby Williams, and then the Sabalis of Germany, and like the whole the Opals team, like all of Australia is, W affiliated, and it's just I don't know. It's a really, really fun and energized time around women's basketball. And you see there's some great guards who are just unafraid. Freaking Alexis from Germany, who, spent some time in played college ball in the States. And there's so many other women like that who, you know, Team USA is Team USA. And Asia is Asia, Stewie, these bastions of women's basketball. And you line up and it's a little, it probably fucks with you a little bit, but then people kind of settle into it and then you get really, really high level play. Coaches are doing some really fun things offensively. FIBA rules allow you to do a little bit differently than you'd be, kind of limited to in W regulations and things like that. So it's just been really fun. I've loved watching, kind of just some of the perimeter oriented offenses and just the flow of like Belgium and France. And I don't know, it's just been cool to watch. Like, the times are what they are. So if you, find yourself awake at 5 a.m., 5:15 or whatever, and you just happen to, pop into a women's game, you're probably watching some, at least one or two high level W players. And if not, there's still high level competitive. Like Nigeria is out, putting on, good shows of it. And it's just a continuation of this rippling out of excitement from women's college basketball, the W, international women's basketball. You have AU, you have Unrivaled, you have all of these things kind of in the women's hoop sphere, and it's just a really palpably, fun time.
Nigeria, what a run! Their coach is 32 years old,
Yeah.
which was insane to me when I looked that up.
Yeah, their coach played the shout out Zora Stevenson. Zora and I played against each other in high school, and Zora played at Elon and played against the Nigerian coach,
Mm.
where I forget where she was. So yeah, like super young, but like fresh and fun.
Western Carolina, apparently.
Yes.
Also was a coach at Manhattan College, which is not too far from me. So I mean,
Yeah.
kind of full circle there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nigeria because listen, it's tough because when you're the African teams just get one slot in the Olympics.
Man.
And you could get a second because of a wild card. Like for the men, for example, like South Sudan had already qualified because of the World Cup, and then Cameroon was able to compete and things of that
Right.
nature, but they didn't get through. Maybe if they had Joel Embiid, but that's another story for another day.
Oh, I wish I want him to go to Cameroon. Giannis, go play for Nigeria. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I wish teams, or I wish rather players would play for their
Yeah.
motherland, so to speak. It would just
Yeah.
make it so much more interesting
You have
instead
these
of just
icons you could be building up. Like shout out to what Luol Deng is doing in South Sudan,
yeah,
and like we could be, just shoveling. But basketball Africa is, there and coming and stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
Joel, go to Cameroon.
Yeah,
Giannis, go to
I love that
Nigeria.
Jose Alvarado played for us in Puerto Rico. Like I
Yes.
love that,
Yep.
right? Like I
Yep.
hopefully Julian Strother could do the same thing the next cycle, and
Yeah.
other guys coming down. Okay, so semifinal games. Pretty much everyone who I thought was going to win won, which I guess wasn't super surprising, but kind of felt like going into Spain, Belgium in particular, like Spain's 3-0 in group play wasn't like an amazing 3-0 because
Hmm.
I saw the game against the Puerto Rican national team who
Hmm.
they played above their heads twice and nearly stole a game, which they could have actually moved on if they won one of those games. And then Belgium was 1-2, and I'm like, Belgium won Eurobasket. Like Belgium's legit, and they gave Team USA like there was a single digit game in the fourth quarter, and then
Yep.
Belgium ends up correcting that. So let's actually go there next. So Belgium versus France. Jesus. I think this could be one of the best games in this entire men, women, doesn't
The
matter
whole
Olympic
tournament.
experience. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to the most with these two teams?
And so we're in Paris, right? We got some home cooking happening, but like Belgium is also right there.
Yeah.
So I know I know atmospherically is going to be amazing. But yeah, on the floor, like Maria Johannes is a show, in and of herself. And then you have, Gabby and what France can look like. And then Belgium, like Belgium is when they played Team USA, they caught fire. They caught like a nice shooting streak, and then they started playing with more energy. They're well coached defensively. Um, we were trying to run some stuff, like we were running some Asia Stewie like diagonal back screen kind of exit screen type thing, and clean switches. Like they're right there, ready to pass off and receive new assignments, and like in real time. Like it wasn't a lot of um, trying to catch up to the speed of what Team USA was doing. And so I'm excited to see what they look like defensively, like from a discipline standpoint, against just kind of free flowing nature of kind of some of what France can do, and I hope it's a shootout. Like I want it to be ignorant. Like let's have a good time. I want Marine off of 1 foot. I want what's Remet from Belgium. Like I want to have fun. I'm excited about that game. Julie Van Emma Mieseman, like
Yes.
Belgium has a solid. Again, there's so much talent. Belgium's first five is super solid. Super solid.
Mieseman still leads the entire tournament in scoring right now. Um, this may be
Like does Lincoln's does she want a W contract? Because I know a couple teams right now who like call big girl up. Like I think it's a fun matchup.
This is why I can't wait for the WNBA to have 16 teams, which
I
I
know.
feel like we're getting closer to.
Oh yeah,
And hopefully one day a developmental
2 years
league of
away.
some sort, but we'll see. Belgium beat
W is only
France.
25 years old. We're still little over here, still young.
Yeah,
It's
that's
coming
true.
though.
So Belgium beat France in the semifinals of Eurobasket last year, 67-63. I vaguely remember that one.
Ooh,
Belgium ended up winning the whole thing. They beat Spain, who they beat today in the finals, and France went on to win the bronze medal. Um, but this is in France. And
right.
in watching the French national team, like Johannes is so much fun. I don't know if she's going to do that again, where she had, I don't know, 24,
Right.
25 points in as many minutes.
Right.
Um, and I actually thought like this would be more of a playmaking game for her, but she was just like, nah, like first of all, she had,
The Germany game?
she
What
had,
are you talking about?
France versus
Mm-hmm.
Germany.
Hmm.
Because I don't know I don't know which way I'm going with Belgium versus France, but Johannes had two ridiculous plays. She had a bunch of ridiculous plays in this game. She had two in particular. She had one that was a step back into a one-legged fadeaway, and it just looked casual as shit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's that ignorant shit. Like let's do more of that.
I was
That is a
like,
hoop.
she's one of these players. Like I watch her, she just makes me laugh, like because of how ridiculous it is. And then the Euro step was the cleanest Euro step I've seen in legitimately months. Like legitimately, I haven't seen a Euro step that good in a long time. I wonder if Belgium is going to be rushing to shut that off, or are they going to be preoccupied with other spots and what they could do offensively? And I know Belgium, as a sort of counter, they were very successful with Spain just cutting over and over, just constantly moving
Hmm.
the ball. And they
Hmm.
really killed them with like just cutting to the basket. They didn't shoot a ton of threes in this game. They just kept getting looks at the rim over and over again. Um, or it felt like over and over again at least. And they shot 54% from the field. So I guess stylistically, like, how should we sort of size this one up? Because again, as somebody who, like, all right, I want to sort of figure out who I think is going to win this game. I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know that you approach, let Marine do what she wants territory, but uh I don't know. I've seen Belgium be disciplined enough defensively to where I actually looking forward to, how does France counter, like what does France throw out first when Belgium reacts and kind of stiffens up to that, then where do the French go? I think right now I think I'm leaning Belgium. Again, like they just played a really clean. I think Team USA is going to eventually, at whatever point in the game, out talent, out offense,
Right.
out superstar you. You know,
Right.
um, but they played them cleanly. They gave them trouble. They have the spacing. They have the intelligence in the bigs. They have good passing out of their bigs. Their bigs are versatile. They have pick and pop bigs. They have size again with Emma and Lincoln's. Like they have a multi-pronged type of way of going at kind of whoever it is that they want to be going at. And I think I see them being maybe a tad too strong for this French team, and I don't want to be selling any of any of the French women short at all. But I think I'm leaning Belgium.
I think I agree. And just sort of looking at it like, what if Johannes doesn't have the performance she had today? Like what kind of happens in that game against Germany?
Right. What's
Um,
the precedent?
I wonder what Gabby Williams will look like against this defense. Um,
I agree.
I think her playmaking is going to be needed. Which it's been there for the bulk of the Olympics, but I think they're gonna absolutely need to rely upon it. I will probably lean Belgium also for now, but I may change my mind before the game starts. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, look, home crowd is there.
You said
So
Belgium?
that may have,
Yeah,
yeah, and
that's
that
the
may have
thing.
some. Yeah, like the home crowd is there. France shot 40% from three on their home floor today. Like if they just do that again, like you can probably just give them the W. Unfortunately, I don't like that basketball has become that simplistic to some degree for some
I
people
know.
at least. But
I agree.
it kind of is what it is. Hey, I like
Me
mid
too.
range jumpers too. All
So
right.
do I. So
Yeah.
do I. That's the caboose. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Time and place. All
Time
right.
and place.
Let's do USA Australia because I mean this is what people are going to be iffy about from
Nasty.
a just purely betting standpoint. Team USA is favored by 19 points, and I looked at that and I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about that
That's
one.
a lot.
uh,
Yeah.
um Australia struggled in group play, but they got the win against France. And now it feels like they're kind of rounding into form a little bit more with this win over Serbia, who I did have questions about coming out of group play, a group that I thought China actually should have advanced from, and they did
Yeah.
not. Um, is this Australian team like a legit threat to Team USA, or is the gap still too wide, so to speak?
The gap is probably still maybe if it's not wide, it's definitely present. At least for me, it's present in a. I know that I have multiple people that I can, as long as I can imagine, if I can think it up, if I can draw it up, if I can explain it, if I can get them to execute, given whatever it feels like I'm up against stylistically, defensive wise. Um, I don't know. Stewie is still Stewie. Like Jackie's still Jackie. Asia is who she is, and again, Australia is another group with just a shit ton of just W talent. Jade, Stephanie, Alana. I love Alana Smith. I think I'm looking forward to the Alana, I guess, Stewie matchup. Like I'm thinking about like the starters and how we match up there. But I don't know. I think the gap is still present. Um, in Is still present and is most felt if needed to be felt, in late game situations.
Yeah,
But probably, you know, one of the, I don't know, maybe top two, top three who are, nipping at Team USA's heel, if for no other reason than just their, concerted pool of talent for themselves. And then Sandy's
right.
seen, Sandy knows what she's up against from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, and she coaches a couple of the players on Team USA too,
Couple of the
which
players, right?
gonna be
Battles with
interesting.
Cheryl Reeve,
Hmm.
can't get Asia out of her head. Has seen Vegas in her nightmares for forever. Like,
And Chelsea. I mean, shit. I,
you know,
I thought,
the core four, like the Vegas four, it's
yeah,
the U.S. Aces, A
yeah,
apostrophe Aces.
yeah. I thought Chelsea Gray had like a damn near Finals MVP case before she got hurt, because the playmaking was just absolutely killing the Liberty
That's
last
out
year.
of control.
Um, Team USA did make a starting lineup change.
Praise.
Diana Taurasi is now on the bench. Jackie Young is starting. They gave a look in the beginning of the third quarter before this last game to end group play, where Jackie Young and Sabrina Ionescu started in the third quarter for Diana Taurasi. Um, and I'm forgetting who else. Actually, no, it was Jewel Lloyd. It wasn't Jackie Young that was in. And
Right.
Sabrina
It was
Ionescu.
it was Sab, Jewel,
And
Fee,
and
Stewie,
yeah,
Asia.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
One, I feel like from a game to game basis, I'm not even sure what rotation we're gonna get, given that we just saw 6 minutes from Sabrina 6 minutes or 8 minutes from Jewel Lloyd. I just don't really know. But does it matter? Or is there a lineup they can put out there where it's like, oh, you're actually giving Australia a legit chance here?
Giving Australia a legit chance to giving Australia a chance to win the game
Like,
based on our poor lineup selection.
it's 6:11 left in the fourth quarter, and Team USA is only up by 8, and it's like, oh, this is only a run away from getting really interesting.
Oh, I'm sure that there is. I don't know what that group would be. I don't want to think about what that group actually looks like. That
You don't like the
it's
lineups, do you? You haven't liked
it's
the
run
lineups?
away from. I like the change. So it's tough, right? Like it is a collection of the best women's basketball players on the
Right.
planet. If the Olympic Games are, the globe's best, the WNBA is, where the globe's best eventually, talent wise, money, all of that stuff, right?
Right,
But
right.
same as with the men's side, right? Like it is the most dense collection of talent like that. So it's hard. It's you know, 10-minute quarters, the W plays 10-minute quarters. That's not the issue that it is on the men's side. But it's a lot of, tinkering and matchup configuration and what works well, with who and from a macro standpoint. And it can get like really, really intricate too, right? Like you think you have, really similar guards and like let's say a Jewel and a Jackie, and then for the most part you do um, and then you get separated at things like lateral quickness, screen navigation, these things that tend to favor Jackie, and you have the possibility of having two wings at any time, but do you want something that's a steady probe the middle type of wing like a Jackie or a Jewel, or is there space for a rip through and elusive and athletic Kalia? And I think Kai is someone who, but she gets it. She's like, I'm the baby of this, Olympic team. She said it. She's like, this is my first Team USA experience. This is my first Olympic experience. I can't expect to, I'm not in Phoenix. And like, very you're not in Phoenix, but like, it's completely different. So I like the change, but I think that was matchup dependent too. Belgium matched up well with Chelsea's, let's say, physicality. The guards weren't as big, but they were strong, they were disciplined, and Chelsea was having a hard time creating separation. She was having a hard time, getting her body into play for her midi, the put my body between my defender, lean off the left, and kind of get that up. And so I thought once you put Jackie in, and she's as strong as Chelsea is, but is more nimble, is more crafty, is your better point of attack defender. There's just so much tinkering. But I like the group that they put out there today. People think that there's still space to make, one more, I guess, kind of tweaking whether Coach Reeve does that. And I shout out Coach Reeve, my LaSalle legend, the LaSalle alum. Shout out to her. But it's tough. I am curious what the Australian matchups look like, because have they started a consistent five um the whole tournament? Do you know?
They have a fairly consistent rotation.
Yeah.
That like they have the same 7 players playing
Yeah.
18 minutes plus. The one other last point that I think this game could get really interesting is I do think Australia, who did raise their 3-point volume today, 25
Hmm.
attempts and hit 36%. Like this is a spot that people have been concerned about as it relates to Team USA. It's just the
Yep.
perimeter shooting.
Have not
Um,
guarded the three well
and
at
that
all.
also. And you're basically like you have all this talent, but by doing that in modern basketball, you're kind of allowing another team to exploit you. And if they get hot, like this can get really like dangerous.
Yeah.
So I wonder how they're going to attack that, because I'm almost certain, like I wouldn't be surprised if Australia puts up 33s. They haven't been doing that regularly in this tournament, but they did take a step. 25 is a little bit above their average. And I mean, shit, what else would you do if you were them? Like, that's what I would try to do. I would try
Yeah,
to just create more looks, not just jack up threes for the sake of doing it, but
right.
create more open looks, you know, pin down screens and back screens and things of that nature and try to get shooters open because, like, how else are you going to compete with Team USA?
And I think too, so with Alana and Ezzy, Stewie, Asia, I I I'm thinking Cheryl starts Stewie on Alana because um you keep Asia closer to the basket, right? And
Hmm.
Alana and Stewie run similar types of actions, like a lot of back screen, a lot of screen and pop. They're both, pop bigs. They're both agile, lengthy, types of bigs. And so I'm wondering if, that's the matchup there. You have Ezzy and Asia. And then, yeah, like teams have done a good job too. Belgium did a decent job of moving. So it was BG a couple times and it was Asia a couple times, moving bigs around. We're lifting, we're getting our bigs lifted, and then they're managing to pick on, advantageous guard post up opportunities for them. And now I've seen Stewie, right, is a great team defender. I've seen Stewie dig down really hard, one pass away, doubling in the post, and now it's the first pass back out, tray ball. So I, probably less of that. We're Team USA, guards. This is Ezzy, Alana. You see them every night, right? Guard your
Right.
yard, guard straight up. Let's hold our own on the perimeter. And the same too from point of attack. Shout out to the Jackie move because I think, again, between DT and Chelsea, there is some mobility, some agility, some lateral quickness concerns. I think you saw themselves be vulnerable, and you saw Australia got to the cup a lot today. Jade is turning corners, getting head down, and trying to make something happen at the rim. And there is opportunity to get some of that against us too. So I think both games tomorrow are going to be super fun. Um, and again, it's just like a really, really exciting time in women's basketball.
Australia out rebounded Serbia 44-32. I'll be watching the rebound battle also. I feel like,
That makes sense to me.
yeah,
I see that. They should have.
yeah, yeah. I feel like
I'd
Australia
be
is gonna
upset if
try.
they didn't.
They'll try to gang rebound their way in this game too. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it'll probably be like a little bit more of a game than people expect, but I could also be dead wrong. Maybe this is the game where Team USA, like, they make 10 of their first 16 threes and this is over by like the third quarter and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. They'll see Belgium or France next and that'll be it.
Right.
um that was Siobhan Beslow. Appreciate her for hopping on. Listen, we got a lot of stuff on the channel, boxing related and basketball related, to wrap up the Olympics. Probably going to put out one or two more things and then just take a little bit of a break because we've been going full speed ahead here. Subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Bryan Fonseca, and follow Siobhan on Twitter because there's a lot of good stuff there, especially, basketball, film stuff. There's a lot of great stuff there, and other stuff, but we can get into that another time.